Welcome to the Deep Dive. This is where we take the sources you send us, distill them, and really try to get to the heart of the matter for you.
Yeah, exactly. And today we're diving into the world of Mitch Ditkoff.
Right. We've got this interesting piece here. It reflects on his poetry, has some excerpts, which is great, but it also includes this kind of unusual Q&A with an AI about his work.
A bit different, yeah. So, our mission today really is to get a handle on Mitch Ditkoff's poetry. What's driving it? What makes it tick?
And maybe why it connects with people, right?
Exactly, why it resonates. It's a good chance, I think, to get a focused look at a modern poet's take on, the big life stuff.
Okay, sounds good. So let's start with the basics. Who is Mitch Ditkoff?
Well, he's a contemporary American poet, also an author, a speaker.
And the first thing that kind of jumps out from the sources is that his poetry isn't like super complex or academic sounding.
No, not at all. It tackles those things we all grapple with: love, spirituality, just, being human.
But in a way that feels very direct, relatable.
That's it. Relatable. And his style really helps with that. The sources call it straightforward, unpretentious.
Simple words, clear images.
Yeah, simple language, vivid imagery. It often has this conversational tone. Plus, he tends to use free verse.
Ah, okay. So not tied down by strict rhyme or rhythm rules.
Exactly. Which lets it flow more naturally, almost like someone just talking to you.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So where does this poetry come from? What's feeding it?
It seems like, well, a whole mix of things, really. His own life, obviously, what he sees around him.
Uh-huh. Just observations.
Yeah. But also, there's mention of spiritual practices. Meditation, contemplation. You can kind of feel that influence sometimes, I think.
Oh, interesting. And does his other work feed into it? He's a consultant, right?
Yeah.
Helps people with creativity.
That definitely seems connected.
Yeah.
That work involves, unlocking potential, fostering connection, themes you see in the poetry, too.
And nature. Does
Yeah.
that pop up?
Oh, yeah. The beauty of the natural world seems to be a big reference point for him. It's all woven together with this deeper quest for meaning, for understanding life's mysteries.
Right. Okay, so let's get into the poems themselves a bit more. The source mentions this idea of the sublime in his work, capturing awe, that kind of thing.
Yeah, the sublime, those moments that are almost too big for words, right? Transcendent, awe-inspiring.
And Ditkoff uses his poetry to try and pin those down.
Kind of, yeah, to capture those experiences, which often seem tied into his spiritual side, trying to give voice to the ineffable.
Okay, we've got some examples here. What about this one? The moon at sunrise is not half as bright as your face when you smile, and I know you are mine.
See, it's so simple.
Super simple, but pow, right? It hits you. That feeling of love.
Exactly. It's direct. He uses this really clear image. Moon, sunrise, face, smile. It bypasses the head and goes straight for the feeling. That's often what good poetry does, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Okay, then there's this one. There is a fire in my belly that burns for you, a flame that never dies, no matter what I do. It is the fire of love, the essence of my soul, the reason I am here, the thing that makes me whole.
That's a powerful one, the fire metaphor.
It's classic, but it feels very present here, this constant burning love.
Yeah, that image of an undying flame, it really conveys the depth, the persistence of that feeling. He makes it feel very personal, very immediate.
Right. And then there's a more introspective piece. I am not this body, nor this mind, nor this breath. It goes on listing things he isn't. Thoughts, feelings, name, world, time.
Leading up to what he is.
Exactly. I am that which is beyond all form and shape. I am that which is within all heart and soul, all light and love.
Wow. Okay, so that's digging deep into identity, isn't it?
Feels like it. Moving beyond the physical, the mental.
Yeah, connecting with that inner core, that essential self. You can really hear that spiritual, contemplative influence we mentioned earlier coming through there. It asks those big questions about who or what we fundamentally are.
And the title of one of his books mentioned is Unspoken Word, Love, Longing, and Letting Go. That title alone tells you quite a bit, doesn't it?
It really does. Unspoken words suggests feelings that are hard to put into language, maybe need a different kind of expression.
Like poetry.
Right. And then love longing maybe hints at, I don't know, unrequited feelings, or just that deep ache for connection.
Could be. And letting go.
Yeah.
That sounds like dealing with loss or maybe moving past things, attachments.
Yeah, acceptance, growth, releasing things that hold you back. It points towards these really profound emotional journeys, the kind that often involve a lot of introspection.
The source also compares him to other poets. Rumi comes up.
Ah, Rumi. Yeah, that makes sense. There's a shared ground there, exploring love, spirituality, the human condition.
And they both use metaphors, symbolism,
Mm-hmm.
drawn from nature, everyday life.
Definitely. Both Rumi and Ditkoff seem to use those common images to touch on deeper spiritual truths. And there's that focus on connection, relationships, and a sort of contemplative vibe that invites you to reflect.
Then there's Kabir, mentioned in this kind of funny image of them bowling together.
Ah, yeah, that was a bit whimsical.
But the point seemed to be about connection on a human level, appreciating simple joys.
I think so. Like, okay, these poets deal with profound stuff, but they're also human, grounded. It suggests Ditkoff, like Kabir perhaps, has this appreciation for life's simple pleasures alongside the big spiritual questions, not just floating off in the ether.
Right, grounded. Now, this story about him leaving the graduate program at Brown University, that feels really significant.
Oh, yeah. That's a fascinating part of his story. He was in the MFA program, prestigious place.
But he started questioning it all. The whole academic study of poetry versus just living it.
Exactly. He was having this kind of existential crisis, it sounds like, wanting authentic experience more than just analyzing texts.
And the key moment was asking his professors where they'd rather be.
Yeah. And apparently, they consistently said they wished they were somewhere else, doing something else.
Wow. And that hit him hard.
It really did. He realized he didn't want to aspire to that, a life of always wanting to be somewhere else.
Yeah.
That perpetual dissatisfaction.
So he quit, even though he had a full scholarship.
Turned down a full teaching scholarship. Yeah. Decided to go pursue what he called the poetry of life directly.
That takes guts.
Totally. Moved to Cambridge, worked as a night desk clerk so he'd have time during the day to just read and write on his own terms.
It's a really powerful story about choosing your own path, isn't it? Authenticity over the expected route.
Absolutely. Now, switching gears a bit, let's talk about that AI Q&A section. It was interesting, some practical questions, some philosophical ones.
Yeah, like, can his poetry cure dandruff?
Ah, right. And the AI, quite reasonably, said probably not directly, but maybe it helps with stress, and stress can make dandruff worse. So, indirect link.
Okay, fair enough. And it won't make you immortal.
Shocking, I know. No immortality, but the AI suggests reading it can definitely enrich your life, which, is maybe a better goal anyway.
True. What about taking his poetry to a desert island?
The AI was diplomatic, said it depends on you, if you'd find it entertaining, comforting, inspiring, and how much space you have in your survival kit, I guess.
Sensible AI.
Yeah.
And for his first wife reading his work.
The advice was basically, go in with an open mind, see how it hits you. Which makes sense, right? Poetry is subjective.
Very subjective.
Yeah.
These answers really underline that, don't they? What one person gets out of it might be totally different for someone else.
Exactly. The benefits are personal, often intangible.
What about someone isolated, like in a cave? Could poetry help?
The AI thought so, yeah. Entertainment, mental stimulation, maybe seeing things in a new light, keeps the mind working.
And it clarified the link, or lack thereof, with Prem Rawat.
Right. It pointed out there's no direct formal connection between Ditkoff's poetry and Rawat's teachings, though both seem interested in human potential and inner growth.
So shared interests, but distinct paths.
Seems to be the gist, yeah. An important distinction to make.
And lastly, for someone near the end of life.
The AI suggested reading Ditkoff's poetry might bring joy, comfort, reflection, but stressed, it's deeply personal.
Yeah, what brings solace at that time is unique to everyone. That makes total sense.
It really highlights that intimate connection we have with art, especially poetry, during those really reflective moments in life.
Okay, so let's try and wrap this up. If we distill everything from the sources, what's the essence of Mitch Ditkoff's work?
Well, it seems to be poetry that's really accessible in its style. It focuses on those core human things, love, spirit, experience.
And his own life story, especially leaving grad school, really emphasizes that commitment to lived poetry over just studying it.
Yeah, that's a huge part of it. So I think the key takeaway, maybe for you listening, is about the value of seeking out your own meaning, your own authentic path.
Right. His choices, his themes, they kind of nudge you to think about what truly resonates for you, even if it's not the standard path.
Exactly. Which leads us to that final thought to leave you with.
Okay, lay it on us.
Think about a time, maybe in your own life, where you chose something unconventional. Prioritized a personal feeling or experience over what everyone else expected. How did that decision shape how you see things now, what you value? Maybe there's a kind of poetry of your own life hidden in that reflection, something to mull over.